The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com, honey. My purpose with this podcast is to create healthy romantic relationships all around the world, especially now that there's a worldwide health crisis and people are in need of love and connection now more than ever. But before we get to that, a shout out to Armed Radio and all the peeps around the world who are listening in. Don't forget to subscribe to Ask for Candy on Anchor. You can also subscribe to Ask for Candy on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Ask for Candy Podcast, which is a little bit behind right now, but I'm trying to catch up. You know, you got to edit these things together. There's so much work to do. I'm a woman on my own. So when you subscribe, though, even if you're busy on a Thursday night, you'll never miss a show. So you can either listen on YouTube if that's what makes you feel good, or you can also download us iTunes, you can subscribe, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere you can possibly get a podcast. You are welcome to subscribe so you never, ever miss a show. Also, we're on Patreon. So if you want to become a patron of the show, just click the link in my post description when I post on Facebook, if you're on the Facebook, or if you are listening on Armed Radio, go to patreon.com and look up Ask for Candy, and you can become a patron. You can get access to early content, get first dibs on any perks, offers, giveaways, and 30% off my private coaching package, should you be interested. And I'm actually offering for healthcare workers around the world, I'm offering 50% off of coaching, any 12-week coaching program, 50% off, which is an amazing amount of money off for support through this pandemic, because, you know, even if you're a healthcare worker right now and your main priority is taking care of other people's health, you also need to be taking care of love in your life, self-love, and supporting yourself with good health. And, you know, your self-care is more important than ever. Even though people think that your love life is the thing that you're supposed to put on the back burner when things go wrong. No. It's the last thing you should do, because the biggest part of your love life is your love for you. So loving you and having practices that love you and take care of you and have you feeling in a loving space, you know, which also contributes to your romantic love, is the most important thing that you can be doing at any time of your life. So, you know, think about it. Anyway, also, I don't usually ask you to follow me so early in the show, but I've announced the last couple of shows that I'm going to announce a $50 a month giveaway. It's a $50 a month Cash App giveaway where I'm going to be asking people to send me their Cash App, and I'm going to send them $50, picking them out of, you know, a whole bunch of people who actually follow the actual instructions for entering. But the only way to know the instructions is to follow me on Instagram at Candy Love Coach or at Ask for Candy Podcast. You follow me on both of those accounts and you'll get the instructions for how you can enter, and then you might be a $50 winner. You know, why not? Who doesn't just need an extra $50 to order out? You know, it's a great amount for 2 people for a seamless order or something like that. Also, you can email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Any questions, any comments, if there's something that I say on the show and you're like, what is she talking about? I just don't get it. I don't understand. Please feel free to email me. I love to be in the discussion. If you send me something and I'm like, oh, that would make a really great show topic, then that's perfect. I love it when people do that, because then I'll talk about it on a later show. If you ask me a question, I will answer your question on a later show. So if you want to, email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. All right, so for those of you who've already been listening in and always listen in, you already know, but for the new people, I am a relationship coach, a workshop facilitator, and a professional matchmaker at Talkify. So if you've never heard of Talkify, it's an amazing digital service where you can hire a matchmaker to do all the sifting and vetting on your behalf. It's especially great for people who struggle with initiating contact or simply picking the right partner. Matchmaking and relationship coaching is my zone of genius. And the best part about it is that week to week, I get to grow and learn as I interact with people around the most intimate part of their lives, the love life. I get to meet and nurture new clients. I get to screen possible dating candidates for them. I get to design programs and activities that deepen their ability to get to know each other. That's some serious shit, people. Don't you want to deepen your ability to get to know other people, get connected? Some of you out there in marriages and you don't know how to do it. So that's what I get to do with people. I get to support them in that kind of growth. Most importantly, I get to be a part of what supports healthy beginnings and a sustainably healthy relationship so that you can have a healthy long-term. And I would hazard to guess that some of you are at home and quarantined with someone right now and wondering if things could have turned out differently if you initially had someone there to help you choose in the beginning and to help you understand how to have a healthy, connected relationship from the very beginning. But the good news is that it's never too late to turn this ship around and go in another direction if both people are willing and able. Right? You can always fix it. Everything's figure-outable. Today, I want to talk about standing in our own way. And a couple weeks ago, I did a similar show about some things that smart, successful, and self-sufficient women will have to give up if they really want a healthy relationship. And today, I want to dive back into that topic in a way. I'm not going to talk about the exact same things. I already said all of that stuff. I don't need to keep repeating myself, although sometimes I do because some of y'all out there aren't listening. But I'm not just going to keep repeating myself. Today, I'm going to talk about some new things around what we need to give up, what we need to sacrifice, and what we can do instead. That's the important part, because when you take something away, you want to replace it with something new. And the one thing that both my dating and relationship and my matchmaking clients have unequivocally in common is that they all say that they want love, and they all have covert methods for resisting it and keeping it at bay. So the reason that I can so easily recognize what they're doing is because I myself have had a lot of crap to cut through over the years and am on a continuing journey, as we all are, whether in or out of a relationship. So whether you're single or already in a relationship, you are on this journey of healing, this journey of understanding, this journey of creating more intimate connections, this journey of having what you want, because there's a lot of you out there who are in a relationship and you don't have what you want. So we can't assume that the goal is to be in a relationship, single or in a relationship. It's just a different phase in your life. All of you out there who are in a relationship, you are just a death, a divorce, a cheating incident, a finding out a big secret away from also being single. And so we want to take away that stigma that the only goal is to get in a relationship. It's not the only goal. The goal is to understand yourself and know what you want and create it in reality. Have what you want, to manifest what you want. I know for some of you that word is a little too new agey, but the goal is to align what you want with what you have. But in short, there will always be crap to cut through as long as we exist as humans on this earth. You're always going to desire things. There's always going to be something that you want. So what we want to do is cut the crap so that we don't go years and years just in desire for something and never having it. That's not what we want to do. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The magical art of cutting the crap and having the love that you desire. And this is assuming that you desire love. There's a lot of y'all out there who are alone and introverted and you're just fine. And I say more power to you. If single is what you want to be and you don't ever want to cut any of your crap, more power to you. This is about aligning what you want with what you have. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is what exactly inspired this topic. And I actually was going to do an entire show around this, but I didn't want to do an entire show where I was just bitching about something. And I feel like if I would have talked about this for a whole show, that's all I would have been doing is bitching. So the crap. This is the number one of the crap that we need to start cutting. It's those women, and if you are one of them, I'm not making you wrong. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or anything like that. I've been there. But the women who get defensive every time they see an ad by a coach or somebody who's offering skills for communicating with men or for having better relationships. I haven't had a whole lot. I don't run a whole lot of ads, so I haven't had a whole lot of it on my own ads. But sometimes I see where other relationship coaches, other dating coaches, they post something, how to communicate with men, how to open up your relationship, how to do whatever it might be, and it's specifically for women. And then there's always these women who comment on the post and chime in with, why don't men have to do it? Why doesn't anybody set up anything for them to have to grow? Why do we have to be the ones who are always growing? Why should I have to, go and do something to change myself? Why should I have to learn how to communicate with them better? Don't they have to learn how to communicate? Like, that stuff is so disempowering, and it's so indicative of why you're in the situation that you're in. When you have that attitude that, it shouldn't be me that always has to grow. It shouldn't be me that has to change and transform. You're so confused. Everyone is responsible for their own experience. Everyone is responsible for their own experience. If you have a shitty love life, it's not the men. It's you picking the men. It's you staying with the men. It's you getting attached with these particular men through the belief that men don't grow, or that men aren't concentrating on getting better, or that men don't focus on what they can do to grow. Because as long as you believe that about men, those are the kind of men that you're going to meet. And there are a lot of men out there who are working on themselves, and guess who they want to meet? They want to meet women who are working on themselves. And by working on, I don't mean toiling as if something's wrong with you. I mean growing. Men who are out there growing and in a conversation of how can I be better? How can I have healthy relationships? How can I do the things I need to do in order to have the love that I want? Men who are out there in that conversation, they are looking for women who are in that conversation. So if someone comes along, or it shows up on your news feed where someone's offering you an opportunity to grow and to have a healthy relationship and to love yourself better and to learn how to talk to men in a way that's workable, jump on that shit. Because if you do, you become a compatible, aligned person for a man who's actually doing that. Now, you might say, Candace, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Men never do that kind of stuff. And it is that exact belief that there aren't men out there that are doing it that's going to have you meeting the men who are not. The men who are shitty. The men that don't care about growth. And it's that exact belief that's going to have you always thinking that it's about you being good enough for somebody who doesn't care about being good enough for you. So, yeah. You want to keep in mind that we attract who we are. So you never want to avoid an opportunity to learn and grow. You will attract exactly who you are wherever you are at any given time. And trust me when I tell you I speak from experience. When I was out of sorts with myself, I attracted and held on to someone who was completely out of sorts with themselves. And so we crashed and burned and came together like the Clash of the Titans and gave each other hell for 4 years. And actually had to decide to crystallize and become something different in order to have something different. So I want to save you from that if I can. If you're already doing that, or you've already done that, and maybe that's why you're in this pain, then it's worthwhile to consider, what kind of growing can I continue to do? What can I learn? What can someone else teach me? Because someone else can always teach all of us something. What can someone else teach me that would have me having a different experience? How can I break out of my pattern of what I've been doing? And that leads to number 2. Focusing more on who your potential lover should be than on who you are or who you could be. So there's the list. And I've talked about the list in many, many other shows. If you've been listening all along with me, you know I talk about the list of standards, the requirements that we as women, especially powerful women, tend to come up with. And I think, for younger women, it's usually around the amount of money they make and how tall they are and, dick size and all of that stuff. And then as you get a little bit older, you start to require other things. And then you start to think, and I was just talking to a client about this today. This is what I'm used to. So my requirement is that he, for example, she was like, my father was an attorney, so I'm used to attorneys. So it would be nice if he's an attorney, which doesn't in any way indicate that he would be compatible with her or And I get where she was coming from, feeling like because she understands, her father's life, which was one attorney's life, and what that meant, that she would easily be able to fit into another attorney's life, which, in as much as it's reasonable and it seems to make logical sense, it limits all possibility for anything else. And it also puts her in sort of this box of like thinking that she has to have some sort of way of managing the person that she's going to be with that she already knows about in order to be happy. So that also cuts off the possibility of knowing someone, learning someone, creating something together with someone, and allowing someone to be who they are. Because even if she met someone who was exactly like her father, there would be idiosyncrasies that are different. There would be things about them that are different. And if there's no room for pivoting because she already knows what it means to be in a relationship with an attorney, then it limits any possibility. And it's so self-sabotaging. It's why things don't work out, because we're looking for the signs of what we think we know. So here we have our list. And we continually hold people up against it, hoping that we will encounter and that person will check enough of our boxes when we encounter them. It's sabotaging us because we're trying to control the wrong thing. Rather than focusing on what we want, we need to always be focusing on who we are being. Who are you being? Because that is what you will get. Are you all the things that you require in another person? Do you even know what your core values are? Do you know who you are? Do you check your own boxes? Do you check your own boxes? Do you even know what your core value, basic human emotional boxes are? Is it that you believe that if somebody's rich, they can come along and be right for you because they have enough money to do so? Is it that you believe that if somebody comes from the right neighborhood, it'll be fine because you guys, you come from the same thing, so then you'll be able to understand each other? Trust me, people come from the same neighborhood and get divorced every day. Is it because you believe that if they're a certain height or they're a certain race or they live a certain proximity, that's going to make it all easier, so that's going to make a good relationship? All those boxes, they're bullshit. The idea is to be focusing on the boxes that you check for yourself that are born and inspired from your core values and who you are. So if I say I'm kind and compassionate and I'm loving and I'm caring, if I say I'm all these things, which most of us powerful women, most of us people in general will say those things and then turn around and do some shitty things to somebody or ghost somebody or be mean or be judgmental or critical, criticize somebody because they weren't wearing the right shoes or they didn't have the right hairstyle or, whatever. Do you check all those boxes of your core values? Do you align with them? Do you act in accordance of the things that are core value important to you? Those things that are workable and good and positive that can make a difference in your life. Do you align with them? Even ones like productivity, family, like whatever, comedy even, things that you want, joy. Joy is a big one for me. Like, I had to find out for myself, especially when I was going through bouts of depression and, believing a story of sadness and believing that sadness and misery is what the world is all about. I had to realize that I was against my core value of joy. I was going against myself. I was in conflict with myself. And when I attracted somebody who was doing the exact same thing, and he was the most morose motherfucker you will ever meet. Always in a bad mood about something. And what I didn't understand, I thought it was about him. It was his fault. He was the problem. He didn't check my box. But what I didn't understand is I was out of alignment with my boxes, with what's important to me. So it's that focus on trying to make someone else fit into our list as opposed to, and reject anyone who doesn't fit into our list, as opposed to just focusing on aligning with our own list. And our own list being things that really align with our basic human selves, our human emotions, what we want to deep down experience as humans. We all want love and connection. We all want to be seen and heard and understood. We all want to be accepted. All those things that they can be claimed as a core value and they can be aligned with, and that will attract more and more of that in your life. So you got to ask yourself, do you act out of love? If love is a core value of yours, do you act out of love, or do you claim that love is important, but then mainly you act out of fear by putting up walls and putting up standards and resisting people, judging them, criticizing them, and pushing them away? You want to be able to ask yourself these questions, my sweet love. You don't have to make yourself wrong. You don't have to feel ashamed. We all come from the same conditioning, in the sense that we all come with these insecurities and very few of us understand how to get aligned with our core values, take our rite of passage and be who we are and authentically stand in it without trying to make other people wrong and resist them and push them away. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you for doing it or feeling it. What I'm offering you is a workable way to have what you say you want be what you have. So that's number 2. Number 3, being an automatic, and this aligns with number 2, being an automatic no about superficial shit and cutting off possibilities. So like I was talking about, rejecting somebody because of, what their bank account looks like or what their shoes look like, or, that they're not used to certain things, or, whatever, all that stuff that we come up with. So I have a male client who went on a date the other night. And in this world of video dating, it's very easy for people to just bail. Right? You could be on a date in, traditional before the quarantine times, and people bailed on each other, but it was a little more difficult. It was a little more challenging to slip out of a restaurant. So a lot of times if you didn't like someone, you probably would stay on the whole date with them, or at least some, range of time that made sense, and then do what you had to do. Some people would bail on a face-to-face date as well, but video dating does make it a lot easier. And she literally, I sat and I screened her and I talked to her. I told her all about this client and who he was and, generally what he looked like. It's a blind date, so, you don't really get to see the person or anything like that. And she was on the date for barely 20 minutes, and decided she didn't like him, made up a story about her daughter being sick, and then bailed on the date before even bothering to have a real conversation to see anything about the type of person he might be. Just automatically, she took a look at him, and that's what she wrote in her feedback notes. She took a look at him. She didn't like that he looked his age. Keep in mind, they were close to the same age, and just decided, that's it, I'm out, I'm not interested, and went on about her merry way. So everybody's entitled to do whatever they want to do with their time. But here you are on a dating service where there's many women who are single and looking for love. And, you're in the privileged position for someone to be matching you with someone based on what you've said about yourself. And rather than see where it can go and be in a spirit of exploration and open to what's possible, because she really, whatever she decided was her reason for rejection, I know from knowing this client and my screening of this client that she missed out on the type of man who actually loves women. The type of man, and not in a creepy way, not in a gross way, like the type of man who loves and honors and respects women. Somebody who would treat her really well, do nice things for her, take her places, travel with her, just, give her a really great life. Now, that's not to say that everybody is not entitled to like what they like or not like what they like. But when you don't even want to give somebody a chance, like you're just an automatic no because the superficial stuff is not in place, that's the kind of thing that keeps us single year after year when we really want a relationship. And I know it can get tiresome. I know y'all are out there like, do I have to? Dating is so tedious. I get to know people and it's such a bother. I go through so many changes. Do I have to sit and talk to someone that I'm not even physically attracted to? Hell yeah, you do. Because you never know where something can lead. And even if it's that it doesn't end up being that person, but maybe that person knows another person and you guys find out you're not compatible. So they're like, oh, well, guess what? My really hot brother, you might be compatible with. What I'm trying to say here is that you don't want to cut off possibility based on, going back to number 2 or number 1, whichever one I was talking about, based on them checking your boxes and trying to control, thinking that, if they've checked all of these superficial boxes, then I can have a conversation with them. It's so self-sabotaging and it's so self-defeating to be in a space of thinking that you have to control how people move in and out of your life in order for you to connect with anyone, because it's the exact thing that is preventing the connection. So whatever story she told herself in her head about what he looked like, or anything that he might have said, maybe he was a little nervous in the beginning or whatever, it automatically made her a no. And her complaint was that he didn't look as young as she would have liked. I mean, we have to put these things into perspective. Also, if you've ever really loved someone, those of you out there listening, that if you've ever really loved someone and there was a real connection where you really saw each other for who you were, understood each other for who you were, had that kind of unconditional connection, if you've ever had that in your life, from experience that all that other stuff falls away. Like, if they look a certain way or what their age is, everything. Like, a lot of things can really be overcome when you really love and connect with somebody. But you can never get to the love and connection if you won't even take the time to have a damn conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I talked about this last week because with the video dating, I was talking about how the video dating adds this amazing layer of all you have to do is have a conversation. That's all you have to do. And with traditional dating, when we're not quarantined, you got to get dressed up. You got to shave your hoo-ha. I don't know what you do as far as like trying to get cute or whatever. You got to put on makeup. I mean, you got to put on makeup for the video dating as well. But, you really got to head to toe go out of your way and, probably spend some money for it. Guys who do pay for the date, they got to pay for the date. They got to do their dress up thing, all of that stuff. And then you got to get there, make sure that you meet up. There's a lot of layers. You got to see how they're treating the wait staff and how that goes in the restaurant and whether they order something expensive. And there's all this distraction all around for like whether I can connect with this person or not. Did they wear the right shoes? Are they, did they have on a wrinkled shirt? Did they look at that woman who walked by? Did they, all these little things that we just look for, and it's all over the place. And it's very, it's almost like dating multitasking. Whereas now, with this video dating, all you have to think about in that initial date especially, but in the initial first few dates, is can I have a human conversation with this person? Can I have a connective human conversation with this person? So if you're dating with your old rules in mind, where you come and as soon as you see something you don't like externally, then all of a sudden you negate that person, or as soon as they say something that you may not necessarily have something in common with, you negate that person, or, whatever, it's self-sabotaging. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for having what you say you want. You're not wrong, you're not unreasonable, you're not a troll, you're not a monster, but what you are is sabotaging yourself in this whole process. And so that's the crap to cut. That self-sabotage, that immediately being a no for somebody because of something that has nothing to do with who they are at their core. And you have to remember that we're just souls walking around in these human suits. Whatever you believe in, this outside suit does not in any way indicate what's going on in the heart. And for whatever reason, that made me think of, I know you guys are going to think I'm nuts. So I'm a relationship coach and a matchmaker. So of course I am, drawn to the shittiest of reality shows when it comes to love and relationships, because I either like to make fun of them or I like to immerse myself in them and get very involved and have my opinions about them. But there's a season of Married at First Sight on Netflix that I binge watched, over this quarantine time very recently. And there's a character on there who is so identified by her virginity. Like, my virginity, my virginity, my virginity. And I won't give any spoilers in case you decide to watch it, what happens with her and the man that she gets married to at first sight. But it becomes a problem. And to me, it's very clear why it becomes a problem, because that's what she identified herself. She identified herself by her virginity. And all I kept thinking to myself was, just because your vagina has never had a dick in it, that is no guarantee that your heart is pure. She kept talking about purity. And, that speaks to like misogynist culture about women and our value being in our vagina. And I've done shows about that before, so I'm not going to go on some big thing about that. But the reason that I went into that is because we're always looking for these wrong things to indicate character. These external, ridiculous things to indicate whether somebody is valuable or worthy. Your value is in your heart. It's not in your vagina. For a man, your value is in your heart. It's not in your wallet. And I get it. We live in a society. It's a capitalist society. Everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses. but we're looking at the wrong things if we want to have sustainable relationships. I'm flashing my hands like a neon sign. That's why there's so many divorces. That's why it's dating and relationships are so difficult, is because we keep trying to align with the wrong thing. We keep trying to have people check these external boxes. So stop being an automatic no. Be a yes. Be a yes in your love life. That's the way to cut the crap on that one. And that doesn't mean that you sleep with everybody. It just means that you are open to connecting on a human conversational level. You are open to getting to know who people are, because it's no skin off your nose. No one owes it to you to be the love of your life. No one owes it to you to cause you to feel chemistry. No one owes that to you. But what you owe to yourself is a chance to actually get to know people on a deep human level, and just be in practice of doing that. Because the whole thing about dating is you're just practicing for partnership. So if you never let yourself open up to anybody, even if you end up in a relationship, you have cut off your possibility for having practiced what it means to connect with someone in an intimate way. And people do it every day, and that's why they end up divorced and hating each other, because they don't know how to connect in an intimate way. They don't allow themselves to practice because they waited until somebody was good looking enough or had enough money. And that's who they chose. Which leads to number 4. Doing the same shit year after year and expecting a different result. Now, we all know from Einstein that is the definition of crazy, right? But things like bailing on dates, insisting that people check your boxes, policing other people for your idea of perfection, they're just examples. I talked about all those examples. But, and holding fast to it. Holding fast to your way of dating and your way of seeing dating, and thinking that your idea of it is the right idea of it, even though you're not getting any results. Year after year after year, I have women who come to me, especially in the matchmaking realm, and they're like, I haven't been on a date, or I've been on date after date, either way, for 5 years now since my divorce, and no one's standing out. No one's showing through. No one I'm really interested in. But I don't want to change anything I'm doing. I'll fight for it. I will argue for my limitations. I will argue you down. I will make sure you know that everything that I'm doing is right. I know everything I'm doing is right. Meanwhile, there is no evidence whatsoever that what I'm doing is right, because I still don't have what it is that I want. It's the human condition. We all do it, being in that argument for your limitations. It's the same shit year after year, getting no results. So that's the crap you want to cut, right? And what is the cutting of that crap? Allow yourself to see it differently. Allow yourself to do it differently. Allow yourself to get out of your comfort zone. When you're in a conversation with someone and that little voice comes up and says, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, knock that little voice away. And be authentic and be real and be honest and be upfront with people about who you are and what you feel in a compassionate way. Obviously, you always want to be taking care of other people in that way. You don't want to just shit all over them with your truth, because that's a whole nother way to keep people at arm's length. But it's that willingness to get out of your comfort zone and not keep doing it the way that you've always done it. And I had a great conversation with a client today about, she had a pattern. And she even said when we first met in our screening meeting that she had a pattern. So many dates she had been on, so many dates. And she was doing number 3, where she kept being an automatic no, or she was, rejecting them because they weren't hitting all of her boxes. But she started with matchmaking and was doing the same thing. And it ticked off some red flags for me, because I'm like, these things that she's rejecting these people for are bullshit things. And I don't mean bullshit to insult her or to make her wrong, but they are things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of life when it comes to love and connection and having a meaningful, sustainable, healthy relationship. They were things that, they were just the things that were standing in her way. And so our conversation was about, is she willing to give that up so that she can actually do something different, even though it feels scary and it feels uncomfortable? And we talked about, She had gone on a date and she said that the guy was really flat and he didn't have a great personality, and she would ask him questions and he would give one-word answers. He wasn't really engaging, and I get that. That can be very frustrating. So if that's happening to me, and my usual sort of reaction, my usual way of being when someone is like that is to then clam up or to get defensive or to give up, then I'm just going to get what I always got whenever anybody did that. Because there are people who are shy and introverted. There are some people who, it takes something for them to interact. And I'm not saying that we have to control other people's behaviors. But if you're set up on a date with somebody and you feel like they're not really engaged and they're not really having a conversation with you, or they don't seem to be interested, ask them about it. And so when I suggested that to her, understandably, because that's not what she would normally do, that sounded terrifying to her. And that's totally understandable for those of you who are out there listening. When you get in an uncomfortable situation with someone conversationally, especially around dating, it can be terrifying to be upfront about what you're sensing and what you're feeling. But this is the practice. This is how we get intimately connected with people, by being upfront and authentic and truthful about what we're experiencing and what we're feeling. Not making them wrong, not blaming them for what we're experiencing and what we're feeling, but just getting truthful about it. So if I feel like you're not engaging with me, I can say that. I can say, I feel like you don't seem like you're really engaged. Is something going on? Are you thinking about something else? Are you not really interested in having this date? It can feel terrifying. Trust me when I tell you, there was a time that I could pretend my way out of a paper bag and I would have never, ever called anybody on their shit. But there's something about calling people on their shit in a compassionate way that has them want to bond with you. And trust me on that one. And I've been practicing it for years. I'm continuing on my journey of mastery of it. I don't do it every time. I've not gotten to the point where I'm just so bold and confident that I can just say whatever to whoever. But for the most part, I look for where I can practice that and get stronger and stronger and stronger with it. Because what's most important to me is to be able to be compassionately honest and authentic so we know where we stand with each other. Because if I can't be authentic with you, I can't expect you to be authentic with me. If I can't tell you the truth about what I'm sensing or what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, even in an initial conversation, especially one that's set up to be a date, if I can't even do that part, then it's not going anywhere. If I'm too busy being attached to my judgments, my criticisms of you, or you not checking my boxes, I'm not leaving it any possibility to go anywhere. So yeah, I say all of that to say, doing the same shit year after year and sticking to your guns and knowing that you're right when what you desire and what you have are two different things is the crap that needs to be cut. And the cutting is the letting yourself out of your comfort zone and being authentic and true and real. And being upfront about who you are, understanding who you are. I always go back to it. Core values, core value beliefs, aligning with your core values. Now, number 5, never questioning a single one of your own beliefs. That's the crap that needs to be cut. Because yes, I talk about understanding your core values and getting aligned with your core values. But what often is static and what often clouds over our core values are all our conditioning and our beliefs. I go back to the girl on the show who was like so into her purity and her virginity, and that was her whole identity, was her virginity and how she's valuable because her vagina had never been penetrated. That comes from a series of beliefs that she has formed in her head and has never questioned if her value was anywhere else but in her vagina. Has never questioned if whether, not saying that she should have been out there being a whore. Also, this girl was in her late 20s. Not saying that that's the case. And, I know there's people who don't believe in sex outside of marriage and all of that stuff. But in a modern world where this woman wants to, get married at first sight and build an adult relationship with someone and have the human experience, but holding fast to this idea that her virginity is her identity. So if anybody ever takes it away, I'm putting that in quotation mark, takes it, like they're taking something from her, that if anybody ever takes it away, she is of lesser value or, she's not pure or whatever. That is a very disempowering belief because it keeps her from being able to connect with someone in an adult, mature way and to trust them enough to get comfortable enough to be able to allow them to penetrate her vagina. Now, some of you out there are going to be like, girl, because you're into that Puritan thinking about sex and Christianity and all of that. And that's not what this particular show is about. I'm happy to do a whole show around that and female value. But the point about it is the questioning of the beliefs and why we believe what we believe is what gets us out of that stuckedness of thinking that whatever we're doing is right and that we should keep doing it. You always want to be able to question your own beliefs. That doesn't mean that you got to question God above, although I think that, a journey of questioning your religion is perfectly healthy, and it's actually what will have you more connected to whatever religion means for you, whatever spirituality means for you. But you want to question all your beliefs about everything, because trust me, they are based on the past. And they are based on a little minimum microcosm of a microbe, of an amoeba, of experience that you have out of the whole grand infinite world of possibility. And my little 48 years, I know some of y'all are like, 48 years ain't little, but my little 48 years on this earth is just like a microcosm of a speck on an amoeba of nothing molecule of knowledge and existence compared to what is infinitely possible in the world. So if I were to walk around thinking that everything that I believe is 100% the absolute truth and there's no other possibility, that is the little bit of limit of life that I would get. And I'm not saying that to say that there aren't some things that I believe that there aren't things that I don't believe that they're or that I do believe that are 100% truth. But I'm also willing to say if something else is introduced, I'm willing to look at that. I'm willing to be open to that. And the reason that I'm willing to be open to that is because opening myself up to changing my beliefs is what changed my life and changed what I experience in life. It changed how I experience love. It changed how I interact with people. It changed my ability to be intimate. It changed my ability to coach. And I had a lot of beliefs that if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you 100% I believe that. So your beliefs have to be flexible. Your thinking has to be flexible. You want to be willing to question all of it. That doesn't mean that you can't be a stand for yourself. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a hard stance on things that are important to you. As a matter of fact, you actually should. But you always want to know that they're authentically aligned back to our core values, that you are authentically aligned with your core values rather than some structure of belief that somebody taught you or some story that you've just been telling for years. You always want to be in that exploration, right? So that's the crap to be cut. And the cutting is open up to exploration, question your beliefs. Number 6, staying hung up on the fairy tale rather than creating a vision and being a co-creator in how your visions can manifest. So I, for one, my mother was a reading teacher and, I learned very early to be a reader. I love being a reader. I love reading books. Middle school to high school, I read so many romance novels that they probably could have started a Harlequin store out of my high school bedroom. I loved romance novels. Read them all the time. And so I had this idea of what the adult fairy tale of love was supposed to be and what it was supposed to look like. And I just had all these pictures in my mind of what I thought I was going to have and what I thought I would automatically have. Now, as I got older, that fairy tale started to fade. And it wasn't because my experience, like with maturity, the fairy tale starts to fade. But what it fades into for a lot of people is just this kind of lack of clarity. I'll know it when I see it. I'll just move through the world and date and just see. I'll see how I feel. Now, there's a balance to be had between holding a vision of having someone align with your core values, someone who comes into your life who is a complement and a supplement to what it is you believe about yourself and who you believe you are. That's a vision. And then being able to release how you're going to manifest that vision. That's the distinction between writing the fairy tale and then trying to maneuver things to be exactly what the fairy tale is, which is what most people do, or just not getting clear about it at all and bumping around like bumblebees and hoping for the best. So those are the general 3 options. I always recommend that people go for the visionary, I'm going to work on my core values, and what I hold as a vision of love is somebody who aligns with those core values. Because I'm aligning with them myself as an example, and they can look at me and they can see what my core values are and they can align with them, and we can have a wonderful love of a lifetime. I believe in it. I believe in it wholeheartedly. So yeah, are you staying hung up on some fairy tale? Do you have some picture in your mind that you're going to know it when you see it? Or you're going to force it? And it's going to inform what your boxes are, what your standards are, and somebody else is going to have to come along and meet it because they owe it to you for you to find them attractive, or for you to find chemistry with them. They owe it to you. I hope not. That's the crap. That's the crap you want to cut. And the cutting of that crap is to create a vision that aligns with your core values, get aligned with your core values, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again until I drive it home. Get aligned with your core values and just be a co-creator in how it's going to manifest, a co-creator with humanity, a co-creator with the universe, with God, with love, whatever you believe in, allowing things to move in and out of your life, knowing that you're going to focus on that which aligns with who you are, which aligns with your core values. That's what you're going to give your energy to. That's what you're going to give all your love to. And you're going to have faith that that person is going to align with you. That's the cutting of the crap. Number 7, and there's only 8 of these. This hour goes by so fast. We're already at 45. Number 7, walking around, and this goes back to the questioning of beliefs. Walking around believing that you are either broken or fixed. So I have 2 types of people that I meet in matchmaking and in relationship coaching. I have the people who believe that there's something wrong with them. They believe that their picker is broken. They believe that their heart, because their heart was broken, that they'll never be able to mend it. And that's just how things are. And it's going to be hard for them. They believe that they're a hard case. They believe that, and they'll say these things because we say them very flippantly, right? Like, I know I'm difficult. That's a suggestion of my belief. I know I'm difficult, so I know that anybody that I meet is going to have a hard time. Well, that belief is what's going to have you manifest what it is that's in reality, right? So if I'm walking around believing that I'm broken, I have a friend who I don't see that often. But over the years, I see her periodically over the years. She's a friend of a friend. When I first met her, her story was that she was broken. And over the years, I have just seen her deteriorate. And it hurts my heart because I've done everything that I know to do to help her. But she has to want the help and she doesn't ask for the help. So it's limited, right? But her belief from very day one of meeting her was that she was broken. She knew I was a relationship coach. We were talking about that. We were talking about what it takes. And she's like, that would never work for me because I'm broken. And so what has shown up in her life in the years since she said that to me are things that align with being broken and believing that she's broken. And the last time I saw her, she had gained a ton of weight. She was in bad shape. And the time before that, I think she had broke her ankle or twisted her ankle or broke her hip or something like that. And I'm not saying that she did those things on purpose. I'm saying that that's what manifests from believing that you are broken. If you believe it about yourself, you are absolutely 100% right. And that's what you'll bring into your life. Now, the other side of that is walking around believing that you're fixed. That now I am perfect because I've learned some things in my life. And I've been there as well. When I first started having breakthroughs in my own transformational journey, I believed that now that I have forgiven my mother, my life is fixed. And as long as I just keep doing what I'm doing, then everything will be fine. Of course, that leaves out all the other growth that needs to happen, all of the future growth that hopefully will happen and needs to happen as I move along in life. Because what is the point of living if I'm not continuing to grow? If I'm, like Anthony Robbins says, if you're not growing, you're dying, which he's right on the money with that. That belief that I don't need to do anything else because I've already got it all figured out. I already know what I need to do when it comes to my love life. I already know what I need to do when I meet people. I already know what to say. I already know how to be. I already know how things are going to go. And whether you already know that things are going to go one way or the other way, you're going to manifest exactly that. And you won't even know that they didn't go that way if they didn't go that way. If you're going to believe that somebody's going to show up in your life in a shitty way, and that's the way you see it, there's going to be very little that they can do that's going to buck up against your belief and change your mind. Because our experience is a product of our mind. All of it. So the cutting of that crap. The crap is believing that you are either broken or fixed and identifying yourself as broken or fixed. And the cutting of that crap is letting it go, because in any given moment, you are anything that you choose to be. At any given moment, you are exactly what you believe yourself to be. And so by believing one thing, you can take certain actions and get certain results. And by believing something else about yourself, you can take other actions and get different results. So why not? Just why not? Why not give it a try? Believing something about yourself that will have you take actions that work. If I believe that I am a connected, communicative, caring, compassionate, I'm not all C words, but sometimes I am. If I believe all those things, and then no bad C words. I know all you out there with dirty minds went straight to the bad place. But if I believe I'm all these C words, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do things that align with being connective and communicative. And I'm going to have a different result than if the C word I believe I am is cunty. Because I'm going to take all kinds of actions that push people away and make people not want to be bothered with me. And number 8, not being authentic about what you feel and where you stand. So this goes back to what I was talking about before. You know, when you're meeting people, especially in the romantic realm, in the realm of your love life, being able to just say what is true for you and what is so for you, even if it's that I feel embarrassed right now, or, you know, if I'm curious, are you really interested in this date? Or, you know, those things that are very out of the comfort zone when you're not normally authentic, but just being able to, and I don't mean brutally honest, because that's a whole nother thing. When someone just says whatever is on their mind, they believe that their feelings are facts, and they don't care if someone gets hurt when they say what they say. And I'm not saying that I haven't done those things. The reason I spot those things is because I have done those things in my life, where I've been hurtful because I just say exactly what's on my mind, and it's like, fuck you, this is what I think, deal with it, that's the truth. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you're meeting people and dating, and what you want is love in your life, the way to connect with people is to let them know where you're coming from. I'm going to say what I'm going to say right now because I'm feeling a little fearful. I'm going to, bring up this topic because I'm wondering about it. I want to ask you how you're feeling, or I'm perceiving something and I want to ask you if what I'm perceiving is accurate. That's how you connect with people. You invite them in, you ask them questions, you get to know who they are by being honest about who you are. So that's the crap to cut. All of that trying to look good and pretend and come off like nothing bothers us, and make up excuses for why we have to leave dates early, all that stuff. It's not authentic. You got to say what is true for you and what is so for you. That woman who bounced on my client and bailed after 20 minutes, what she could have said if she saw him and instantly was not attracted to him, I wouldn't recommend that she say something like, "You're not attractive to me." But it would have been okay for her to say, "You're not exactly what I expected. And I don't know what that means to you, but I am willing to be with that and get to know you a little bit and see where it goes and see if we can at least have a conversation." And that for her would have been practicing for actually meeting who she does expect. So she's cutting herself off from connecting with people, and she's going to meet some hot guy, and she won't even be able to have a decent conversation with him because she's been saving the conversation for him. Doesn't work. It doesn't work, people. It doesn't work whether you're a man or a woman. Like, cut that shit out. Say what is true for you. Be honest. Own your shit. Don't make anybody wrong for it. Don't dump it on people. We're already at 53. The time goes so fast. The conclusion is this. Healthy, sustainable love is simple. Figure out who you are. Stand in who you are and express yourself authentically. Focus on feeling good and enjoying yourself. and keep spending time with the people who align with that and want to spend time with you because of who you are. People who want to be with you because they see you and they know who you are and they accept that about you are the people that you want to keep no matter what. It doesn't matter how old they are, what they look like, and all the other bullshit that we put on it. The people that can see you and understand you and align with your core values and accept who you are and love who you are no matter what are the people that you want to keep in your life, the people that you want to stick with. So out of all those people, pick one that you want to have sex with on a regular basis and keep choosing love and enjoyment over and over again. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right, so that's that. It's time to wrap it up. I want to tell you guys, I'm a matchmaker photographer. I already told you that. But if you want to be included in my roster of recruits to be matched with a client for free, send me a private message on Facebook with your interest. Candace Harper Love Coach is my business page, and I'll send you my recruitment link. And you can sign up and be part of the Rolodex and networks. You can get matched with people for free. All you have to do is be single and open to being screened to go on a blind date. The Epic Circle is free every Monday night. Go on Eventbrite from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights. I do a free online healing circle for women everywhere. We come together as a community. We cause personal transformation when it comes to communication, forgiveness, self-love, mother-daughter relationships, purpose, friendships, just all the tools we need to be as big as we were meant to be, and we're supporting each other through this pandemic. Last week, we got clear about forgiveness. We had a great forgiveness conversation, and we're going to be on forgiveness for the whole month. Follow me on Instagram at Candy, Ask for Candy Podcast, at Candy Love Coach. I will be announcing the $50 Cash App contest. Also, shout out to the Ask for Candy podcast group, which you can join on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe on Anchor, subscribe to Patreon, email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And be on the lookout for everything. Until next time, never forget that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for candy. I love you guys so much. Take care. Mwah, 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 mwah. Have a great week. I love you so much.
I call my sugar